We do so, just a couple of reminders. There is the Q&A section of Zoom. If you have any questions during this presentation, please put your questions in there. We do have panelists that will answer your questions, and we will roughly have around 10 minutes or so towards the end where we'll do live Q&A. So firstly, for those that don't know, my name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a Senior Program Manager, creating content. So you would have seen many of my webinars before. If you do have any content that you'd like to see, please reach out to me via LinkedIn, or you can with the follow-up email. And now I'm going to hand over to Harshad for his introduction before we get started. Over to you, Harshad.
Thank you, Sam. So I am Harshad Borgaonkar, and I am a Principal Product Manager here at BMC Software, and I would like to welcome you to this session on what's new in ITSM/ITSM roadmap. This will be a two-part session, and in the first part, we would be focusing on what's new in BMC Helix ITSM in the last 1 year or so from the 23.3 release train. In the second part, we would talk about what's coming up in the next 12 to 15 months. But before we get started, I need to read out this legal notice, or at least a large part of it. And what it says here is that the information contained in this presentation is the confidential information of BMC Software and is being provided to you with the express understanding that without the prior written consent of BMC, you would not discuss or otherwise disclose this information. All the future product plans and releases described herein relate to BMC's current product development considerations, which are at the sole discretion of BMC and are subject to change and or cancellation at any time. So with that, let's get started. And I would like to spend some time to share the context on why we are working on what we are working. And a large part of that is driven by the changes that we see in IT today. And I don't want to be preaching to the choir, but this is the backdrop of our daily lives today, which is in terms of emerging product and DevOps teams within large organizations, even mid-sized organizations, and they have a desire to push faster and frequent changes. So with that comes an increasing number of applications and application complexity, some of which are niche, the others are commonly used across by multiple teams across various form factors, and this creates data that is in petabytes and ever increasing. Again, computing today, as you know, has become ubiquitous, and the influence of mobile, cloud, AI, SRE, on a workforce dominated by millennials means that we cannot continue with manual methods. And they also and also that we cannot continue to work in silos. The number is on your screen in terms of how many changes a mid-sized organization makes every year. And we are not talking about large organizations even. For large organizations, this number would be at least 6 or 7 times. Which brings me to service ops. And what it really is that it's a convergence. So it's a set of tools to enable our customers to build on their investments in certain areas that are critical for enterprises around DevOps and modern services. So it is not a single environment, but what it is that it is an unified environment, and we can do that at BMC because we are a platform. We have some innovations that are really the heartbeat of service ops, and I am always amazed by how impactful they are to our customers. A large part of our focus today is around AI, machine learning, and GPT, and these are going to be areas where we will continue to have larger and bigger investments so that we bring in efficiency and simplification to our customers. Now, big enterprises, as you know, are not like DoorDash or Spotify or one of those new age digital companies that are built grounds up using new technology. They have legacy infrastructure, and you like it or not, it is not going to go away. And they also have challenges with their infrastructure that cannot change overnight. There is not even an advantage, as what we've seen to change things overnight, right? the value and stability metrics is just too skewed, right? But but still, large companies are making strategic investments in cloud, in DevOps, in microservices, and they want to really make the two work together, the mesh of old and new. And this is as they move to a more modern, more agile, more DevOps, microservices way of working, and as they add things to their technology stack, right? An example of this would be moving money, which was, let's say, hassle 15 years back, right? So you had to go to a bank, stand in a queue, take a token, and then wait for your turn, etc. But now I can open my mobile and just have to click that button. And what really happens is that, through all this web of technology, mainframes, mobile, OS, apps, databases, network, the money is moved to my wife's account in, let's say, under 2 seconds. And the mobile app, as we know, is delivered on a very modern technology, on a very modern environment. Um, but again, there is legacy stuff. Banks have mainframes. The new apps are really layered on top of that, right? So if you really do a reconstruction of the IT environment, you will find that ITSM 20 years ago was more focused on the visible stuff, the client applications, devices, and then building a framework for supporting the applications. In the ops world, we had the same support that you are rendering, but the direction was different. The two disciplines were different, are different. There is in IT ops, it is more around the network operations center, the backend stuff. It is more infrastructure minded, in terms of monitoring, alerts, and optimization. So there is some cultural difference, but it is not that they do not interact. The interaction is more of a handoff, like gatekeeping, right? And this really creates challenges in terms of productivity, engagement. There are other challenges that we are seeing around handling complexity. We have apps all over the place today with data. As we said, it's in petabytes. So how do you collect all this data? How do you really get insights on a wide variety of systems in real time? So there is a need to collaborate, to innovate and lower your total cost of ownership while being able to realize value from your investments. So this is really the backdrop of our discussion today on the roadmap and what's new. So the way this translates into our focus is, our focus is on four key ITSM pillars. The first is obviously AI service management and Helix GPT, and Gen AI will be our focal point in BMC Helix in in this financial year, in this year 2024, and even beyond that. The second is service ops. And what we are looking at is we are looking to provide intelligent and collaborative ways of working with our customers, to our customers. And this is really part of the feedback that we are getting all the time from our customers, right? And then comes our relentless focus, our continuous focus on constantly improving user experience and adding new functionalities. Lastly, there is dashboard, there is our workflow engine. Helix dashboards will be our primary dashboarding tool going forward. So these are really our four major strategic themes. With this, I would now like to discuss the newly launched features in ITSM from 23.3. And so coming to the new features, you'll be seeing the new features in versions starting from 23.3. And good news is that there are three important areas that have really benefited from an user experience facelift, as we call it, and will have a better, more modern user experience. And these three areas are the calendar, the share ticket console, and asset console. Again, areas where we generally receive a lot of feedback from customers. So you'll be seeing the new innovation suite based components that are used to deliver these. And then again, there are features. There are a number of features that are really driven by customer feedback, and things such as rich text in tickets, the ability to edit work notes or download data. There are a number of them. I'll start with the change timeline, which is really the revamp of calendar. And it has, of course, a new look and feel. But we've also addressed some of the customer feedback in this area. And the view you see here today is to support the DevOps style of working, where you would do more frequent, more smaller changes, which means that they need to be visualized together in a week, in a month, or in a day. And what we have come up is with this can type format. It is a different but better looking view, right? So on the left hand side of the left hand side panel, you would see all the changes. You can then collapse or expand the left panel. On the right side, for every change, you could visualize the key details for those changes, along with key attributes like the risk level, the start dates, the end date, the change coordinators, and things like that, right? Again, you could start with a day of the week, and then from there you can move to the week to a weekly view, and then from there you can move to a monthly view. Then there is filtering, which is much more expanded, and this was an area where there were several customer requests for additional features, right? So there are several filter classes like the record type, status, risk, service, and so on, and you could apply them to see the changes only for those filter classes. You could do an export of this in either ICS or CSV. With ICS, you can open this file in any of the email software like Outlook. Um, and then we have also redesigned the shared ticket console, and it is also built on shared IS-based components. Again, the new shared ticket console is designed in a way that it offers uniform experience across multiple service management apps. So this was an area where we were dinged a lot, right? And the common feedback was that the experience of a console differs across multiple service management apps. So we have made it a more uniform experience. This can be tailored to suit your needs. It is mobile ready. And then talking about some of the newer functionalities, filtering is expanded. It includes intuitive display options. We now also have an option to export records from the console to a CSV file. This was, as you would know, a popular ask. Also, the text search is extended to include multiple fields on the console. There are other features like preset sharing and also the ability to filter on service requests, which was missing earlier. Lastly, in the new ticket console, there is what we call the in-row actions that provide an agent the ability to take some actions quickly, like being able to edit the ticket without needing them to open the ticket first, or to assign the ticket to the logged in user to flag or unflag the ticket. So again, a very new, modern, intuitive way of working. And this is really a significant transformation that we have delivered on the ticket console. We've also transformed the asset management experience with the new asset console. Again, this is built on IaaS. So as you can see, our focus is towards building new UI that is tailorable, it is mobile ready, and which could be extended. Of course, in the asset console, there are a lot of features that facilitate a quick analysis of assets. And again, it includes the ability to filter and display custom fields or out of the box fields. You can create custom presets. You can perform text search within the result set. You can view the service model. You can also view team and person relationship. Again, there are common features that it shares with the shared ticket console, like exporting for offline analysis, sharing presets, and then lastly, we have the ability, for users to perform the bulk update of asset CI attributes, a very important feature that was an ask from a lot of our customers, and copying of assets. So as you could see, this is really a transformation of the asset management experience. Um, on the DevOps side, our new DevOps metrics dashboard is now really available out of the box, right? And this is available with our BMC Helix dashboard. And again, the basis for this is that we are using the industry standard DevOps research and assessment, or DORA metrics, to help our customers, to help our agents to visualize the impact, a service or application would have on software development, right? One of the major outputs from the dashboard is to identify a set of four, key performance metrics, which, as you would know, are critical to deliver successful outcomes uh, based on DevOps practices, right? And again, you could see that these metrics are listed here. There is deployment frequency, there is lead time for changes, there is time to restore services and change failure rates. Now, this really helps us answer questions like, how often does an organization deploy code to production? So this would be answered by using deployment frequency. So you can again select a service, you can again select a time frame, you can look at the deployment frequency of that service in that time frame. It also allows us to answer questions like how much time has elapsed between the initial commit of code into the production deployment process and then its successful delivery in production. That is the lead time for changes, right? Then you also have the time to restore service, change failure rates, all are very important metrics to track operational performance and also track the reliability and health of the service. So again, I would say a big improvement in that direction of DevOps. And then one of the marquee features that we launched late last year is around resolution insights. And what is resolution insights? So resolution insights is when we summarize the resolution notes on incidents, which are then grouped and displayed onto proactive problem management clusters, as you can see on the screen. So if you remember, we launched proactive problem management as a module, as a feature 3 years back, and then we are making continuous improvements in proactive problem management. Here, the attempt is that resolution notes on incidents, oftentimes they have valuable information, and this is around how the incident was resolved. Now, when we talk to agents, they tell us that it is here that they try and capture the summary of what it took to resolve the incident. And this is also, by the way, communicated back to the user. So it needs to be meaningful. And again, if there are frequently reoccurring incidents of a similar type, of a similar nature, chances are high that the same or similar resolution would be entered by different agents, on such similar tickets. Of course, the language used by one agent might differ from the language used by the other, but this is where natural language processing, LLMs and GPT comes into picture, right? So what we are looking are similarities of resolutions within incidents, and then using ML algorithms to summarize them and display them on these proactive problem management clusters. So when doing problem analysis, the problem teams would now benefit from knowing what was done to resolve the incident. And again, what the agents provided as resolutions in the resolution node could very well be a temporary fix. It could be a workaround, but it could also point them out in the direction of the root cause, which is very important. And this is again part of the ongoing collaboration, ongoing communication between the two teams, incident management teams and the problem management teams. So here our attempt is to really draw a straight line that connects the two teams, and also displaying what knowledge articles were used to resolve the incident, which might lead to identification of the issue, the solution, and its root cause. So these are really first steps in that direction of finding root cause. And then we also launched Helix GPT powered agent assist for faster resolution of tickets. So again, this was launched in May this year, and it was in response to challenges that we are facing today in IT around increasing number of applications and increasing number of and increasing application complexity. Along with the risk of not knowing how to resolve issues that are associated with super niche applications and specific areas within those applications. Again, traditional search has not been able to respond to these challenges in a way that our new age workforce expects it to. So here is where we believe that agent assistance feature in Helix GPT comes to the rescue. It gives support agents a search interface within the incident record that provides a summarized response to the reported incident. We have a webinar which we have done, especially on BMC Helix GPT powered agent assist. And I would strongly encourage you to go and look out for that webinar recording in YouTube. It would also provide you the details of this feature, how this response can be a summarized knowledge from one or more articles, how really helps in responding to user queries, right? The goal of this feature is to reduce the time spent searching through multiple search results. It is meant to provide faster and accurate answers that can be fully referenced to the original source documents and to facilitate a more detailed analysis. And again, this is possible when you have a GPT tool that takes away the heavy loading part of it and provides you more time in your hand to look at the root cause or to look at what was the reason behind this incident. And then lastly, Fiat rolled out the new release management interface, which was built on progressive web applications. It has the full set of release management features. It also allows our users to manage releases on mobile, right? So this is again a new improvement in terms of release management. And again, this is being launched, in this year. So I think with that, we come to the roadmap features that are part of our feature release cycles. And I would just like to check quickly, how we are doing on time. Sam, are we good? Are we on
Yes, we've
time?
got about another 25 or so minutes and then a little bit of time at the end for the Q&A. So yes, we're good.
Sure. Thank you, Sam. So on the roadmap side, I'll start with accessibility and localization, as they are our highest priority at the moment, given how various countries and customers are focusing around these areas. Accessibility is becoming a crucial design principle for applications because, again, it ensures that all users can access and use the application, also including those with certain disabilities. Uh, Accessible applications, as you would know, improve the user experience, and it allows us to reach a wider audience. In BMC, we conduct regular accessibility testing from competent bodies like Level Access. And our goal really is to enhance the ITSM and make it fully compliant by WCAG accessibility standards. So this is really the worldwide recognized standards on accessibility. We also strive to meet accessibility targets set by Level Access during the assessment of our application. Additionally, we are now working to achieve localization of foundation data plus localization of activity logs, workflow status messages, and approval UI. Lastly, we would be adding support for Canadian English, Canadian French, Thai, and Hebrew in our ITSM UI. So again, these are, I would say, usually important enhancements and features that we would be introducing very soon in ITSM. And again, we want to make very good progress on these areas in this financial year. And this brings me to some of the application features, starting with features around change management. And change management is going to be, again, our big focus for this year and the next year. And again, now, as you might know, today, when you create a change request, the change coordinators have to do a lot of things manually. One of the things that they do manually is to classify and enter the impact of the change request. Now, what we have been told is that this is really prone to errors. This might be inaccurate. It leaves that uncertainty in the classification of the impact, right? So we would be automating this classification of impact on a change request based on either the CIs or a questionnaire, right? And when it is done on a CI, this will be done by mapping the CI resilience to change impact. Again, the highest resilience from the included CIs would determine the level of impact in the change request. But the impact can also be calculated based on a questionnaire. The questionnaires would be completely customizable. And this would really remove the guesswork that is associated with classifying impact. And going forward, our aim is to have a more scientific and explainable basis for doing so. With that, I'll also talk about some of the other improvements in change management. And the next improvement or the next feature would be around change freeze. And just so that we are all synced up on terminology, a change freeze. So what is a change freeze, right? So a change freeze is a period of time during which no changes are made to a system or environment. And this is generally done to reduce the risk of disruptions, right? So this was something which was missing in smart IT, and we will now be implementing various change freeze use cases, starting with the ability to create and edit a change freeze schedule. And again, you will be able to see the change free schedules on our new ITSM calendar, the one that we just discussed. We'll make it completely configurable for users to define change free schedules, against change requests that could be in specific locations, or ones that could have specific operational categories or product categories, or for those ones that are associated with specific CIs, right? So again, it would be completely configurable. Again, in terms of change fees schedules themselves, they will also be configurable, right? So you can define a change fee schedule as a one-time thing. You can define it as something which is recurring. Recurring change freezes are commonly for end-of-year periods, such as around New Year, around Christmas, or close of financial years. While it is also common that there are certain time periods during the year that would differ every year. Hence the ability for both. And there is also configurability to ensure how changes would be approved during change freeze periods, right? So some changes would need additional approvals, and then you can also have the configuration to strictly prohibit any approvals of changes during those periods. And then lastly, you can load change freeze schedules. You can do it using data management tools, and you can do the configuration in ITSM, and this would be completely configurable as we talked about it. Again, continuing with our focus or change management, this is the new Gen AI or GPT-based feature that we would be rolling out, and it is called the change risk prediction. And just to quickly reiterate what we said during the start, is that what we are really witnessing today is the influence of newer practices such as DevOps and SRE on ITSM. And again, the message that we are receiving again and again is that it translates into promoting smaller but more frequent changes. That is the case, as we are told by customers, of ever increasing data sources, increasing application complexity, the risk of non-adherence to processes, or even worse, fudging of data. And this so often leads to change failures and change rollbacks. These are reasons cited by our customers as grounds for bringing increasing transparency and an end-to-end visibility in the entire process, in the entire change process. So, which is why we are looking at change risk prediction and change risk advisor as an AI powered tool. Our vision and goal with this is that it would help break down the barriers uh, that have traditionally existed in the change management process, right? So, you have two teams. So, on the one hand, you have the change advisory team. On the other hand, you have the team that propagates changes, that is the change operating team. And again, we want to break down the barriers between these two teams. And the common complaint is that change advisory boards come in the way of promoting an innovation culture within organizations. So we want to really look into this aspect. We want to provide end-to-end visibility of the whole process so that everybody is well informed of the risk involved in a given change request. Our North Star vision with this is to enable more precise prediction of change risk with data that comes from service management, from AI ops, and eventually we want to increase the automated deployment rate, right? Um, but this starts with a very simple change risk assessment tool. And in this, as you would see here, it would aggregate data from key variables from service management and also key variables from operations management, right? As you could see here, on this screenshot. Again, this allows change teams to look at the impact of past similar changes on operational variables if they had gone haywire, because that is one set of data you cannot fudge. The service management KPIs will allow you to look at recent changes for the service, the outages, the volumes of incidents, and get an overall view of the application stability. So this is really our vision around this, and configurability is a bigger aspect of this, and we have designed for it so that our customers could choose different set of metrics, and they could make it completely configurable. In the next release, we will provide a risk score which combines the risk levels from human assessment, which is shown on top, and from the service management data, and also from the AI operations data. And again, the goal here is to provide clear interpretations and remove any ambiguity. Again, the change risk score will be configurable. You will have weighted averages on each variable, and the variables that need to be included is would be for the admins and the users to decide. So again, the whole solution will be completely configurable. Yeah, and then another GPT feature that we will be introducing later this year will be conversational global search. So now, in addition to traditional search, our agents will also be able to ask questions or queries and converse with ITSM in a more natural language style and get quick answers. Again, this would start with getting answers on knowledge articles, but again, this will be expanded very soon to include getting answers from all tickets, assets, and even people data. That is, we'll answer the agent queries based on a global context. And by global context, we mean everything, all the data that is there in ITSM, right? So we are also coming up with an innovative approach called agentic RAG. And agentic RAG would allow you to search and rank the tickets, the knowledge articles, and this would be done by using semantic similarity. So again, a different approach to do global search, a new and very innovative approach to do global search based on Helix GPT and based on Gen AI. We talked about the agent assess feature earlier, but this is something that we had released in the earlier versions. But and then we would be making good amount of improvements in this feature. So we would be adding the ability to summarize not only based on the knowledge articles but also based on resolution insights. We would also want to add the ability for agents to pin, to upvote, or downvote, or even email the response if they believe that the summary is relevant to the question at hand. Then if they like the response given by GPT and they upvote the response, then the response could be added back to the activity log. The knowledge articles that are used to create the response could also be added back to the activity logs. And lastly, we would add semantic ranking here so that knowledge articles in resources tab that you see under recommended knowledge will be ranked by an LLM model using semantic similarity. Again, this is something which is a feedback from our customers today that they don't see the most relevant knowledge articles on the first page. So again, a lot of improvements would be provided in the agent assist tool in the future. The one area that we're also looking at very closely and working to improve or to plug the functional gaps in the incident response process is around post-mortem reviews, right? And again, there is a focus today by customers to shift left. And by that, I mean that they don't want to wait till problem management to conduct the root cause analysis. They would want to start the root cause analysis after a major incident or after a critical incident. And this would be done as part of the post-incident reviews. So we are really going to enable them to do that and then also provide the incident summary based on what happened during the major incident or the incident, what was done to resolve the incident, who were involved, what was the root cause. So they can track, they can record all these things. Again, they can use this as a tool to coordinate between multiple stakeholders. They can add this summary back to the incident record. And again, based on this, the lessons learned, they can define and track corrective actions to be taken, right? Even when you have similar such major incidents, again, in the future, you can always refer back to the post-mortem review analysis to get lessons or to get learnings from that. So again, this is the whole purpose and the rationale behind post-mortem reviews. And again, this is a functional gap today in our solution. We acknowledge it, and we are going to plug that functional gap quite soon. And then going forward, we have a couple of features in terms of service ops. So again, what we are looking here is a tighter integration between AI ops and ITSM, right? So today, when we look at the integration, we find that there are some gaps. So whenever you have a situation in AI ops, The situation could have multiple CIs, but not all the CIs are captured in the incident record. We want to change that. We want to capture and populate all the service CIs from situation data on the incident record. And again, they will be captured here in the CI tab that you can see. Again, this will be an integration between AI Ops and ITSM. We also want to enable ITSM to capture the causal CI from AI Ops. So there could be a CI that could be the that could be the real cause of the events and situations, and then there could be the other CIs which you could get by doing a graph walk. So our attempt is really to capture all these CIs, the causal CI as well as the other CIs as well. And then lastly, we'll also populate even data on incident records. So this will really lead to a closer and tighter integration between AI ops and ITSM. And that is really our goal in terms of service ops. Uh, that we are looking very closely is around improving major incident management, and especially for DORA compliance. Now, DORA is a regulatory compliance in Europe, and large banks and large financial institutions have to really comply by DORA with DORA by Jan 2025, right? So our customers really need additional fields on incident forms. So they need additional fields around clients, financial counteracts, transactions affected. They need fields around reputational impact, the duration for service downtime, data losses, the impact economically, and so on and so forth, right? Again, your major incident would be determined based on a couple of these fields. So we would have the configurability to determine if this is a major incident or not based on the values of these fields, of these attributes. So this is going to be really helpful while determining major incident or detecting major incidents in real time. You can also configure or the threshold for service downtime in the solution. And then going forward, what we're looking for is in terms of tighter integration between DWP and HKM with ITSM. So today, in terms of HKM integration, we get a lot of feedback. Some of the feedback is around cross-launching into the HKM view of record and providing a quick preview of the article, right? This is again a gap in our solution. We will be plugging the gap very soon. We'll also be adding the ability to flag or comment or edit an article from ITSM, right? In the same way that you could do it for an RKM article. And then the advanced searches on HKM by the tags that have been applied to HKM will also be possible in ITSM going forward. So this will be really helpful for a much neater, much clean integration between HKM and ITSM. Uh, in terms of DWP integration, we want to enable the approval history for DWP requests on ITSM screen, right? And again, this has been a request from many of our customers in the past, that they want to see the approval history, they want to see the agent that has been assigned to the ITSM incident and so on and so forth, right? And then this will be also there will be also a thing about improving the info on ITSM fulfillment ticket screen, about events and those sort of things, right? So our goal is to have tighter integration between all the tools. It could be DWP, it could be HKM, it could be also AIOps. So that's a large part of a focus here as well, in the roadmap. Also, we would like to enhance some of the user experience capabilities. So there are features that we would be introducing in the next releases or in the upcoming releases. So we are working to introduce the audit log feature back into Smart IT. So you can look at the entire audit log history. This is something which will be available to you as part of all the ticket types. You would also provide the ability to log efforts in Smart IT. We would provide search suggestions. Again, this is one of the major improvements that we would be coming up with in ITSM. So when you do a search in ITSM, we would be providing you the ability to complete your search, right? So we would provide you recommendations based on available knowledge articles, based on available string types, based on popular searches. so that you are able to complete your search queries and get to the right results, right? And again, this is something which is part of Google and other tools. We want to really be inspired by those tools and also bring it here in ITSM. Then we would again, we would again have additional abilities in console, in calendar, like task display in calendar. And then again, we are working on features like displaying the pin knowledge articles on the first page, and then copying assets. These are features that we would work in terms of improving the user experience in ITSM. Again, as part of the user experience, there is a feature which is around Kanban visualization, right? So again, this Kanban style of representing work is very popular in various workflow applications, right? And again, this is the feedback from our customers, largely because they don't want to really, uh, go to a record and then change the status all the time. It takes a lot of clicks, and they want the ability to be able to change the status by just moving the records across swim lanes here in Kanban board. They need a chart for tasks. They need a visual representation of dependencies. They need a visual representation of overlaps. And what they really need is a very intuitive GUI. And this is what we are working on. And this is especially designed for agile teams, for teams that work, in agile mode. So it would be really helpful for these teams going forward. So I guess this was the whole session on roadmap. I would like to just mention a point here in terms of our design partnerships process, right? So, and what is it is that we really collaborate with our customers. So, the product management team, the UX team, our data science team, they really collaborate with our customers. We really discuss with you on your needs, your gaps, your concerns, your ideas, and we want to bring them into ITSM, right? We want you to participate with us in technical discussions, maybe POCs, maybe beta programs, so that we can provide you an experience, we can provide you solutions that really meet your needs. So I think you could join this program, reach out to Sam, reach out to us to know how to join this program. There is a QR code out here. You can use the QR code to join the program. And we would look forward to working with you to get your feedback and to improve the product. With that, I'll take a pause. I'll see Sam if there are any questions left to be answered, or can we open
Yeah,
the.
yes, it's been very busy on the chat. So we've got quite a few questions. Let me just quickly take the first one, and then I'll start unmuting everyone as well. So Mamadou's put a question in: the DevOps dashboard, is this related to which BMC application?
The dashboard is not related to a particular application, but it is around, it is around the four key metrics that we talked about, right? And these metrics would actually lead you to more operational efficiency and to show you your operational performance on that service. So whenever you have changes on, let's say, a particular service, you need to track the deployment frequency. You need to track things like lead time for changes or time to restore services, the change failure rates. So this is really based on change data, but it is not really based on any such BMC application. It is the ITSM dashboard that we would have to enable DevOps and to improve the reliability and health of the service.
Thanks. Mamadou, does that answer your question? Do you have any other questions? Can you hear us? I know normally you're able to speak with us. I know sometimes people have audio issues. Can you hear us okay? Maybe he's having a problem. Next question anyway, Harshad, is summarization of resolutions included in the standard ITSM license, or do we need specific Helix GPT license?
This would be available as part of the suite licenses. Again, in terms of licensing, we can answer those queries separately. So if you could share with us the customer name, what are your entitlements, we can reach out to you back and we can answer your queries.
Okay, I'll just put that message back into the chat. We have a question from William. The features of DORA metrics, automated impact analysis and freeze schedule, will this be linked to the change risk prediction?
Um, um, Features in Dora metrics, which features the automated impact analysis? This one. Okay,
Yeah,
and
it says, yeah, and free
automated.
schedule.
Yeah.
Will they
So I
be
think free schedules are not really a parameter or a variable for determining change risk, you know, but the impact would certainly be of some value. So this will really drive the change risk score calculations. The impact will, the change freeze will not. That is the answer.
okay? William, I have given you the ability to talk. I don't know if you can hear us. Did you have any other questions? I would assume if we don't have a response, we'll move on. So Harshal's put a question in. Do you have any plan to enable progressive views for KM module?
Um, yeah, our long-term strategy is to really, redesign RKM, if that is the question, using progressive views, right? So that is our long-term strategy. We need to redesign RKM based on progressive views. Um, I'm not sure when that would be coming up, and which is one reason why we haven't included it here. Our current focus is largely on change management, on Helix GPT, and on things like incident response. But on a larger roadmap, that would be also something which would be available to our customers.
Harshal, hopefully that's answered your question. If you want to reply back or come off mute, feel free. Okay, next question we have is from Eric. For the global search, how are results returned for asset data? For example, can a user enter a request like provide the name, related applications and support group for all the servers running Windows 2016?
Yeah, and that is the whole concept of an agentic RAG. So this is something which is still in our labs in development. But when you really do a RAG on all data types, you could support all these queries. The one that has been uh, shared by Eric, you could support queries like show me my tickets for, let's say, this service for the last 7 days. Even those could be returned with agentic RAG. So again, the approach of agentic RAG is a new, novel approach. It's an innovative approach. It would take into account all your ITSM data and then would be able to return the answers based on your questions.
Eric, can you hear us? I know often you
I can.
ask
Can you
questions
hear me?
live. Great. Just like to check that people aren't having all audio issues. We can. Does that answer your question, or do you have anything else?
It does. So it sounds like this is somewhat still in progress. It looks like a very promising feature. Something that we try to define some processes around. But if it's kind of built into the platform, specifically with the CMDB team, so enabling our users to be a little bit more dynamic in asset searching will be a big win for us. Just curious, even for tickets knowledge, is there ability, like, is it going to enable like being able to export a list? Like if you ask a dynamic query like that, are you going to be able to then like export a CSV or some other method of data to kind of extract it out of the platform?
So the exact specifics of this are yet to be worked out, but I guess this would be a valid use case for us. So at some point, we would be able to extract the entire data set from the query back to, let's say, a CSV or an Excel sheet or whatever it is, right? But the exact specifics of this are yet to be worked out.
Okay.
Uh, mhm. But it indeed is a real improvement. It's a real, way forward in terms of global search, in terms of search in ITSM.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for your question. Okay, so next question from Car is, will live chat be improved? It seems strange to an agent that you cannot create several cases from the same customer. Customers tend to have several things they want to report when they contact us.
Yeah, I guess your questions on live chat, if you can ask those questions to us. I'm not the right guy to answer questions on live chat. We could get back to you on this separately.
Okay, thank you.
Cara, I'll take that question. There are different product managers and different support teams that we work with. So I'll take that question away and get that answered for you.
Yeah, because we want to use out of the box what BMC provide to us. But we find it hard to move away from custom-made things over to smart recorder and so on, because yeah, it's too. I really want to get in touch with some that I can show kind of the limitations and what we are struggling with.
Okay. I hear you.
I
So maybe what we can do is we can connect you with the right product managers for live chat,
Yeah.
and they would be able to answer your questions there.
Yeah, and I also work with the support team. They've done quite a few videos and webinars stuff with live chat. So I'm sure between them we'll find the right person to put you in direct contact with.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. So next question is from Dinesh. Audit and notification log feature, is this in which version?
So we cannot really comment on versions for these features. What we could say is these are largely a part of our roadmap, right? So we don't really want to commit the versions for these releases, but largely it would be in the 6 to 12 months timeline is what we can say at this moment, right? And then certain things could also change depending upon other priorities, depending upon customer requirements and those things. But it's largely in the short-term roadmap is what it is.
Dinesh, did you have any other questions? I know you quite frequently ask questions on webinars. Does that cover your requirement? I don't know if you can hear us. I can see you've come off mute. I know sometimes people have audio issues if they haven't joined through the Zoom client. So maybe if you just want to reply, if you've got another question. So a question come from Mario. In which version will Cabin View be available? Kanban.
Again, we cannot comment on specific versions for these features. What we can say is that they are in the short-term roadmap, which means they are anywhere between 3 months to 12 months at this moment.
Okay. Thank you. And then Carl's put another question in. So, okay, that's just following up on the other stuff. So, Carl, I'll follow that up with you directly. Robert's put a question in. We have explored connecting our AWS and BMC environments, and we're disappointed to learn that BMC does not have a FedRAMP connector solution to meet the needs. Is there a timeline available for this?
Yeah, I mean, we are working to achieve the FedRAMP certifications. That the work is underway. And then again, my team members here, Srini, could perhaps give more insights into that. But one of our goals is to achieve complete full FedRAMP certification.
Okay, but no guesstimate in the timeline on that?
Yeah, I guess again the timelines would be a different discussion. If you can just share, send us an email, maybe I can put you in contact with the right people that are working on this. Maybe we can give you some guesstimate on that. I don't have the timelines with me right now handy to discuss that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Robert, when I send the thank you email, which will be in the next sort of 24 hours or so, there's a survey. If you just want to pop a reply back in, I should receive that, or use my email address and I'll work with Harshad and the team.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll do that.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. So next question was, are there any plans of bringing approvals to the work order module?
I mean, no plans at the moment, but we would like to know more about the requirement. So if you have the requirement, if you could share that with us, we would be happy to have a call with you on that.
Can you hear us, Regine? Seem to have quite a lot of audio issues today. Regine, if you would like to just reply back, we take all the Q&A stuff. So if you want to give us a bit more information, again, it may be Harshad or a wider team that we need to go out to, but if you've got more information on that requirement, that would be helpful. Thank you. Okay, next question from Amutha is, ITSM Insights part of the standard ITSM licensing, or do you need separate licenses?
Yeah, so ITSM Insights would need suite licenses. So if you're a SaaS user, you would need suite licenses. If you're an on-prem user, there is a separate SKU for that. But again, licensing queries are a different question. Again, please feel free to email us. We have a team that takes care of licensing. We can answer your questions, in as much details as you would want to have.
Amitha, if you do have an account manager or contact like a customer success manager, they will normally also be able to help with those. And there's an email distribution list for license inquiries. I will dig that out and reply that back to your question.
Sure, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions while you're off mute?
No, not at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So next question is from Francis. Is there a roadmap item to have an integration between BMC and Azure AD for people load?
Between BMC and Azure AD?
Yes, Azure AD for people load.
No, I don't think we have a roadmap exactly for Azure AD. But one thing that we are going to improve is on our people management module. So there are a lot of enhancements planned on the people management module. It is just that it might not be short-term improvements. It might be a bit in the long-term roadmap for us.
Francis, I don't know if you want to ask any other questions or if you're able to come off mute. Okay, next question is from Ellie. For the audit logs available in the ticket details, is it configurable for which information to be included into the logs? For example, support group changes, ticket detail changes?
Yes, it would be configurable. And Srini, if you want to add to this answer, you could also add to this answer, but it will be configurable. That is a that's a short answer to this question. Yeah.
Srini, did you have anything else extra to add?
Hey, nothing more. Yeah, we have filtering built in, and audit tracking is enabled for core fields. So you would be able to filter them. If the question is around finding specific audit, we also have filtering built in.
Ellie, can you hear us? I can see you're off mute. Okay. Ellie, if you can just let us know that answers your question, and we'll put a full detailed response in the Q&A. So the last question that I've got, and we'll take this as the last one, we're almost up for the hour. Sunshine's put in Helix ITSM, we are currently having the ability in ITSM change management to create custom change process flows using the Viz process flow form. This allows for custom flows to be created to skip certain stages through the life cycle of a CRQ. You can then assign the process flows to change templates. So when a template is chosen, it attaches the custom change process to the CRQ, allowing you to bypass or skip stages within the CRQ. This functionality does not currently exist for release management. Are there plans to create a custom release process flow with the ability to attach the process to release templates?
The answer is no in the short term, but in the longer term, we would be able to consider this requirement. Right? It does exist in the change management process today, this requirement. But we have no plans at the moment to extend this functionality to release management. But in the future, we would be able to consider this thing. Maybe in a bit more longer term roadmap.
Is this something that we would want to be raised as an idea, or is it?
Yeah, it could be good if Sunshine could raise this as an idea. Depending upon how many people really upvote this idea, how much audience we get for the idea, we could then push the priority up for this, right? It is basically based on ideas that have the largest number of upvotes from users and practitioners. Is how it gets really converted to a feature, right? So yeah, that's a great idea, Sam. We